What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Juicy Jet Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Rooney, and we are here to finally recap the heartbreaking loss. The Jets go down to the Pittsburgh Steelers 34-32 at MetLife Stadium in Game 1 of the regular season. And the reason why I say it's a heartbreaker is because this was probably the best game of the 1 o'clock window. When's the last time you've seen the Jets put up 32 points? That ties the highest amount of points we scored all of last year. So it was a hell of a game, and the reason why it's heartbreaking is because the Jets eventually fall on a 60-yard field goal by the Pittsburgh Steelers with about a minute left, which really just dug the hole and buried us. So we're going to talk all about it. I have my own opinions on what I thought of the game in terms of both the positives, the negatives, my outlook on what happened, and where we go moving forward. So we're mostly going to just talk about this game. We're going to save talking about the next game, which is Buffalo, for a next episode, which is we'll do in a couple days. We'll let this one simmer in a little bit, see what the injury report looks like, and kind of gear up for that. But for now, we're going to talk about what happened. So let's start overall with my thoughts on the game. Number one, very weird weather game. You started off at the tailgate. It was pouring rain, which was absolutely brutal. Like game 1 of the season in September, you want good weather. It's one of the few good weather games that you think you're going to have as a fan going into the first game of the season in September. But no, we didn't get that. We got rain. But when we got in the seats, it was actually pretty nice out. It was cloudy, and then eventually the sun came out, and it got really hot towards the middle to end of the game. So weather really wasn't a factor too much, I would say, for both teams. I kind of thought that if it was going to rain, that would actually benefit the Jets because of their run game. But no, it didn't really play that big of a factor. Now, I think for me, the big storyline coming into this game was Fields versus Rodgers. And they both showed up. Like, if they both wanted revenge on their former teams, which I don't really understand why, but if they did, they both put it all out there. And I will say this is probably one of the best games I've seen Justin Fields ever play as an NFL player, which is why it's so disappointing that we weren't able to walk away with a win. So let's talk about some of the bad things that happened first. So let's start with the defense. You can't give up 4 touchdowns and 34 points to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is 41, 42 years old? The guy can barely move anymore. How the heck are we trotting out there giving up this many points to a team like this? That's the thing that really drives me nuts about this game is we dominated the line of scrimmage against them, especially on the defensive side when you look at Quinnen Williams having an elite game. You look at Will McDonald having an elite game. You look at Jermaine Johnson playing a good amount. You look at who else played really well. I thought the linebackers were good when they were like rushing the passer. I wouldn't say they were good the entire game. So, you're dominating there. You're beating their offensive line left and right. You only held them to what? I think they had, let me see if I have the number here, 53 yards rushing, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I thought the run game did really well, but the bad part about this defense giving up all these points, and the most disappointing part, was the secondary. The secondary was a mess. Besides Sauce was absolutely elite in this game. We'll talk a little bit more about Sauce, but man, you look back at some of the people that we said we were going to struggle with and that we were very nervous about going into this season. Number 1 was Brandon Stephens. He was the big offseason acquisition at cornerback that everybody said from the beginning, why did we give him that much money? And in the preseason and training camp, you're like, okay, he's starting to look better. We'll see how it goes. And in game 1, he goes right back to what he was with, like when he was with the Baltimore Ravens, where he was a guy that could get sticky, but can never turn around and find the ball, which would give up big passes because of it. And in this game, he wasn't even sticky. He was falling and slipping left and right. He was nowhere near some of these receivers he was trying to cover. And then probably in the biggest moment of the game, probably actually 2 of the biggest moments. Number 1, he commits a pass interference on a deep pass that put the Steelers into field goal range. And then Aaron Rodgers, he gets pressured, first of all, from Jermaine. I think it was Jermaine and who was the other person? Maybe was it Quinnen or Will? I know Jermaine was in there. And Aaron Rodgers gets pressured, and he just rolls out and just chucks it. I don't think he saw Brandon Stephens, but Brandon Stephens is right there to catch the ball and end the game. We win if he catches this ball because we run out the clock. And what does he do? He just straight up drops it. So the turnover's right in your hand. You can be the hero of the game, and he lets it slip through his fingers. So extremely disappointing that we had to watch Brandon Stevens basically give away this game to people not named DK Metcalf. He was covering guys like Calvin Austin, Ben Skowronek, some of the tight ends. I mean, it wasn't good. So really disappointed in Brandon Stevens. And this is actually, the fans have been calling for it. They're calling for it already. But is Azareye'h Thomas going to start to get some playing time? Because Aaron Glenn talks about accountability. Well, this is someone we're going to have to eventually hold accountable. So I think he was one. Number two, I thought the safeties were kind of a mess. Like Tony Adams, another really big missed tackle on I think it was like a crossing route from DK Metcalf where he just let him go around him to the outside instead of either leveraging him back into the middle where the linebackers can help him make the tackle or pushing him towards the out of bounds. He froze, and DK Metcalf is way too fast and too athletic and just blew right by him. So Tony Adams, once again, another guy that we said, what are we going to do with the safety room? We can't have Tony Adams starting again. And here he is starting, missing big tackles in the first game of the season, just like he left off last year. I like the guy. He's got a great story, but I think he's a third safety, not a second safety. So I wonder, does that mean Malachi Moore's coming? Does that mean Isaiah Oliver's going to start to play more? I feel like we can't survive having both him and Stevens not playing well at the same time. So that's a disaster. Michael Carter, who's usually one of the best players on our defense and probably the most underrated player on our team, he's one of the highest paid slot corners in the NFL. And once again, great coverage, has a ball that is very interceptable, and what does he do? He drops it. So we had the turnovers there. The defensive line was doing their job and putting pressure on Aaron, and they couldn't convert. So that was the bad with the defense. The good, like we said, Quinnen Williams had one of the best games I've seen him play in a very long time. He was elite in this game, whether it was the first play of the game, getting a sack, which was awesome. I thought he played really good in the run game. He was double-teamed a few times where he was just bodying the double team right back into, I think it was Jaylen Warren running those few times. So I thought he was out of control, exceptional. Best player on the team, I think. I thought Will McDonald played up to the standard that I thought he would play, which is a Pro Bowl defensive end. He had 2 sacks in this game. He put Broderick Jones in a blender. That tackle had no way to stop him. And now if you look back and watch the game, you'll see Will McDonald has that bull rush added to his repertoire. So now he's not just the fast guy who has the spin move. He bull rushed Broderick Jones, who's a big boy, a few times right back into Aaron Rodgers' lap. So I think he's going to be an amazing player this year, and I'm so excited for Will McDonald. Another person I want to shout out, Jermaine Johnson. This guy's coming off an Achilles injury that happened, 11 months ago? Usually, you ease someone back in. You say, okay, you're going to play 30% of the snaps. Then the next game you'll play 40, then 50. He played 80% of the snaps yesterday. That was more than Will McDonald and Quinnen Williams. Absolutely insane for a guy who literally hasn't played a down of competitive football since week 2 of last year. And he played well. I thought he was good in the run game. I thought he had a couple of moments where he was pressuring Aaron Rodgers. I know he didn't always get there, but I think he caused a lot of sacks and a lot of bad plays from Aaron, which I thought was really exciting. I loved watching Harrison Phillips play alongside Quinnen. I thought that was great. And then Jawan Briggs, the guy that we traded for from the Browns, he played a lot too, and I thought he was good at stopping the run. So secretly, this defensive line became actually a good, talented part of the team, which is kind of crazy. So, very excited about that. One other thing that I missed on the bad from the defense, I don't love the defensive end depth. Seeing Tyler Barron out there, even the linebacker depth, Kiko Mawagoa was playing in real snaps. I'm just put Marcelino McCrary Ball out there. He's at least an NFL player at this point. We know he is. So I didn't love how we were rotating those guys in. I wonder if there's another edge player that we can go get eventually to help out this team, because I don't see Tyler Barron or Kiko Mawagoa being those guys. So that was it on the defensive side. Offensive side of the ball, let's talk about any of the bad that we saw. There's not a lot. That's the great news. Not a lot of bad from the offense. So let's talk about the good. I was very, very impressed with Tanner Engstrand. I thought he called an awesome game. When I saw them run, I think it was 3rd and 10, and we were on the Steelers side of the field, so we're in field goal range. And it's the first drive of the game, and we run right up the middle for 7 yards or whatever. I was like, are we really going to do this every third and long? We're just going to run up the middle with Isaiah Davis. But then he came back and got more and more aggressive as the game went on. So I really loved the way that he called. I loved the mix of RPOs, run plays, pass plays. I thought it was perfect. And I think Justin Fields was dangerous enough with his legs that caused the defense to not know what to do. Do we play up and stop the run? Because then the one time they did that, you send Garrett Wilson deep. I think it was Wilson and Josh Reynolds on a deep crosser where Garrett Wilson was going to beat Darius Slay all day because Slay's too old at this point to keep up with Garrett. So that was beautiful. And that was a dime thrown by Justin Fields. We know Justin Fields is good at throwing deep. Justin Fields' problem is he can't typically read a defense, especially when he's like trying to throw over the middle and things like that. But he had an exceptional game. I thought this was the best game I've ever seen Justin Fields play. And man, it gives you optimism. It gives you hope. I'm like really excited to see what else can we do with this guy. And now my one criticism of Justin Fields, I guess it's two of them. Two criticisms of Justin Fields in this game is number one, he messed up the RPO a few times. There were a few times where he kept the ball where he should have gave it to Breece, vice versa. And there was one especially where he should have handed it off to Breece, but he didn't, and he got stopped, and it was third down, which we didn't get the first. I think he got stopped like 2 yards short of even the line of scrimmage, so we lost yards on the play. And I think Breece knew it. I think he knew it at one point too. So that was a bummer, but otherwise he played a outstanding game. I was very excited about Justin Fields, and I think this shows where the ceiling's at. And I was a big Justin Fields hater going into this year. Now, do I think this is going to be an every week thing? I don't know. We'll see. But it's very encouraging as a Jet fan. You know, you look at our team and you're like, wow, this is frisky. Like, we can beat some teams like this. As long as that defense fixes up a little bit, our offense can win ball games. Now, the other person I really want to shout out, Breece Hall. Breece Hall was like the Breece Hall from 2022 when we drafted him. He was amazing. I think he ran for 107 yards. He was at 5.5 yards a carry, I think. Hold on, let me look at that. 5.6 yards per carry, which is unreal. He was pounding out first downs like it was nobody's business. He looked very good in terms of his vision. He hit the hole hard. He was aggressive. I really loved watching Breece, and I'm excited for what that means for the rest of this year. Braylon Allen, I thought was okay. He only had a couple carries. He got the big touchdown, which was great. Love to see him score. Especially that was like a 8-yard run for him to get into the end zone, so that was really cool to see. Isaiah Davis only got the ball twice, so not that much action there, but he did have 18 yards on those 2 runs, so that was pretty good. So very excited about Breece. The offensive line. Now, I was very upset when AVT got hurt. And the Jets changed their strategy a little bit. They started to run more. Instead of where they were going to run behind AVT and Membu, they ran behind Fashanu and Simpson, so the left side of the line. I thought that was a really smart decision by Engstrand because we crushed it in the run game. I thought the run protection was great across the offensive line for the run was awesome. I thought Myers played pretty good. He didn't do anything, I think, to screw up in this game, which was awesome. Tippmann is a really good guard. Like, you saw it. He's very athletic. He was getting physical. He was pumped. I would say Fashanu got beat once by Highsmith in the pass protection game, which is okay. You know, Highsmith's a really, really good player. He's a Pro Bowl player, and Fashanu is a second-year rookie. This is like his 6th game ever playing. So I think he's going to be a stud. He looked really good. I'm excited about him. And then finally, we got to talk about Membu. A rookie tackle, first NFL game ever, going out there against one of the highest paid defensive players in the league, TJ Watt. He must have pancaked him like 6 times. If you look at the highlights, TJ Watt is on the ground a ton. Membu was awesome. He didn't allow a single pressure. I was extremely impressed with Membu because I think it only gets easier from here when it comes to pass rushers that we play against. I think that was one of the toughest defenses you're going to play. So very excited about the way that worked out. I think Membu looked really good, and I'm excited to see what he looks like the rest of the season. This is like a big building block. So in my mind, we've got a wall in front of us. That offensive line looks great. Hopefully no one gets hurt. Simpson was in and out. Hopefully he could stay healthy because we can't really afford any other losses on that line, but we look good. Who else do I want to shout out? I am a huge Jeremy Ruckert hater at this point because of all the things that he's just been missing. He's been MIA for the past 3 years. He had a hell of a game the other day. He had 2 huge third down catches that were like not easy catches. So it was like watching the Ohio State offense from, 6 years ago now, just light it up again. So it was good to see Rucker get involved. And you're like, wow, with him and Mason Taylor, like maybe things can happen here. I think the big thing on the offense is we need a number two. Like Tyler Johnson made some plays. I thought Reynolds had one or two catches, but we need someone else to play receiver. Alan Lazard wasn't even active. Xavier Gibson doesn't even play offense. We'll talk about him in a second. But I think there's more to this offense that we're missing, and I think Justin Fields just needs another weapon. I also love the screen game. I can't wait to see the screen game get played out again as the season goes on because Brees is really good at it. Really good. Oh, and the last thing I noticed. Engstrand put Braylon Allen and Brees on the field at the same time. I thought that was so smart. I think that's setting up for future games. I think there's going to be a lot of cool things that we can do with those two in the backfield together. And then the last thing is I saw Arian Smith, running down the field a little bit. I'm sure they're going to keep doing it. They're going to say, hey, we got a threat over here. You better watch him. So, we'll eventually unload that one. So overall, great offensive game plan. I think the big disappointing thing is that we couldn't get down the field with a minute left. That was really the only thing that stunk. I think Fields was like 1 for 4 on that last drive. And he just left Garrett out to dry where Jalen Ramsey lit him up on that last pass. I think Fields probably could have run, but we were running out of time. The clock was ticking, so it's a tough play. Like, what are you going to do? All right, special teams. Nick Folk looked fine. Happy with Nick Folk. Punter, we got a punter. Austin McNamara, he looked good. He had like a 50-something yard punt in the fourth quarter, which was awesome. But the big one, Inwanwu looked good, and then he gets hurt. So what happens? Xavier Gibson comes out as the kick returner. So the first kick return he gets, what does he do? We have the perfect block setup. Chris Banjo, great job setting this up. Everything was perfect. If Inwanwu was back there, it's a touchdown. Xavier Gibson runs through the hole and trips over nothing. And what does he do? Since he never gets touched, he puts the ball down. So technically it's a fumble. And thank God Marcelino McCrary-Ball is paying attention and jumps on the ball. Because otherwise, that's one fumble for Gibson right there. Then, in the most critical part of the game, the Jets are up 2 scores. The Steelers drive down the field, score a touchdown. On the kickoff, Xavier Gibson is holding, I don't even know how he's holding the ball. It's like on a silver platter, he's giving it up to the Steelers. One of the easiest fumbles I've ever seen. The guy just like tapped it with his hand, and the ball went flying. And of course, the Steelers recover and then score a touchdown 2 plays later. So it was a 14-point swing in about 20 seconds. And that was it. The game, it wasn't out of hand because, to the offense's credit, we came back and scored after that. So we were backs against the wall, down by a couple, and we go out and score. So that was fantastic. But man, Xavier Gibson cannot be doing that. We've been saying all offseason he should not be on the team. He's not an NFL player anymore. He's done one good thing for this team since he's been here, which is that amazing punt return he had against the Bills. But that was over 2 years ago now. It's time to move on because he's not contributing on offense, and he's a constant problem on special teams, especially in the kick return game. If you want someone who can catch punch, just put a receiver back there that knows how to catch and just fair catch it every time. We don't need Xavier Gibson. He's not doing anything. So I'm very frustrated with that because we've been saying it all offseason, and it just feels like between him, Stevens, guys like that, Tony Adams, like stuff we talked about, and it came back to bite the Jets in this game. So very disappointed there, but that's the way it crumbles. Now, Aaron Glenn after the game said that he's going to hold people accountable. What does that mean? Because after that fumble, the next kickoff, guess who got the ball? Xavier Gibson. So he was right back out there. So did he hold him accountable? I don't know. We'll see. But if he wants to send a message, this is the time to do it. So overall, that's the outcome of the game. Now I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about everything. And for me, I'm extremely disappointed because when you score 32 points, for the first time since 1991, we didn't punt in the first half. 1991. That's like 35 years ago. That's crazy. And to lose that game is really devastating, especially at home, especially to Aaron Rodgers. So I think we let one slip, and I think at the end of the season, we're going to look back and say, can you imagine if we just won week 1, where we would be? And that's the thing that just keeps sitting in my head. I am not about moral victories. Great, we looked good, but at the end of the day, the scoreboard or the the standings still say 0-1 and in last. So it doesn't say but 0-1, but they look good. So, that really kills me. You can't lose a game like that. The other side of me says we have a lot to be excited about going into the rest of this season. I think we're going to be a really frisky team that's going to cause a lot of problems for our opponents, whether it's one of these playoff teams that we're going up against, whether it's one of these teams that we should beat, like the Panthers or the Saints or folks like that. Even the Dolphins looked horrible. So that's a team that now you got to think, okay, can we beat them? Same thing with the Patriots. They didn't look that good. That's a team we got to beat. So I think there's a lot of optimism going into the rest of the season. But we got a rough little stretch coming. We got the Bills coming to town on Sunday. We got the Bucks after that, and then we go to Miami. So not an easy schedule coming up, but I'm watching the Bills game, and it was the most incredible game. Amazing comeback. Josh Allen is an absolute freak. But I'm watching that run defense of the Bills, and I'm like, we can run on them. If we can just... This is what we used to do with, I think it was with, like, when we would play Tom Brady, where when we would try to win the game, is we would run the ball as much as humanly possible, run the clock as much as possible to limit the amount of time he gets the ball. And that's what you got to do with a guy like Josh Allen. So that's why I'm encouraged that the season isn't all doom and gloom. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that came out of this. And, props to Aaron Glenn. It's his first game. I thought he coached really well. You could tell the team was prepared. They came out with their hair on fire. They felt like they could win, and they did everything they could. I think he's going to learn a lot from this game. He's going to learn about how to better manage his timeouts. There's just a lot of stuff that I think we can take away. So, I'm a little all over the place here with some of my thoughts because the game is so fresh. I rewatched it again today just to remember what happened. But, I feel good about the team. I'm just really, really upset that we lost because I'm at the point now where moral victories don't matter and I want to see wins. And I'm tired of losing. And I'm especially tired of losing at home when I got to look at the other fans sitting in the stands waving their stupid, terrible towels right in my face. But I think we're going to see some wins this year. Based on what we saw yesterday, I think we're going to see some wins, but we got to take advantage. Can't be turning the football over, and we got to get turnovers ourselves. So we are now on to Buffalo. I will jump back on this maybe Friday or Saturday to talk a little bit about the Bills game because we play them Sunday at 1 o'clock at MetLife. Should be a lot of Bills fans there too, just like there were a lot of Steelers fans this week, but hopefully this game gave Jets fans a lot of optimism to want to go to the game. So, all right, well, I appreciate everybody for listening. Let me know your thoughts. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, JuicyJet25. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all the good stuff. Follow, whatever you want to call it on whatever channel you're on. But I appreciate the time. Hopefully the Jets fans got their heads held high today, and we'll get over this loss quickly and bounce back against Buffalo. See y'all later.